Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the gifted children of Waterdeep and how they are educated. All right, specifically how they're educated. All right, so let's jump into this. All right, so I watched a fascinating video. Link is below if you'd like to watch it. You're welcome to watch it, but you don't need to watch it to understand what I talk about here because I am going to summarize it. All right, so in the video linked below, there's a gentleman by the name of Dr. K. All right. Now, Dr. K graduated from Tufts Medical School, and then trained at Harvard to get his psychiatry degree. And he got a degree in psychiatry, and actually, he is specifically a specialist in video game addiction. Okay. And then, in addition to that, he now is faculty at Harvard. Okay. And so if you look at the video below, it has 1 million views. And what he says is that gifted children are special needs children. Okay. Now, I'm going to give my opinion of what he said. I found this incredibly offensive. And the reason why is, I'm a parent. I have 4 children, and my kids have gone, K through 12 in America. And basically, I have met many parents that struggle with special needs children, like people who have dyslexia and other major obstacles to learning, right? And basically what Dr. K says is that he uses his own story to demonstrate why gifted kids are special needs. And so what he says is, when I was a kid, I went to my classes and I really couldn't be bothered. I was super smart and I could just sail through all. I'm paraphrasing here, but if you watch the video, this, in my opinion, this is what he's saying. And I just sailed through all my classes, but I was bored, right? And because I was bored, I just didn't engage. And then I disengaged, and then it got harder for me to build a strong study path. But I had incredibly engaged parents, and all my teachers were, would talk with my parents, and then I went to Tufts Medical School, and then I got to Harvard, and then now I'm a Harvard faculty. But my path was difficult. And because my path was difficult, people need to treat me like a special needs child, and I needed more than I got. More resources, more attention, better response from the system. I'm like, dude, you are sitting on like the most privileged path possible. You teach at Harvard, right? It turned out gold. And what he's saying is, but it was hard. I had difficulties. And the world needs to make sure that other people like me who are bored and don't choose to engage with their schoolwork are just treated like special needs children and given more resources, time, and effort. I'm like, are the resources, time, and effort that were given to you so that you could go to Tufts, Harvard, and then teach at Harvard not enough? Like, what more do you need, right? So let me tell you what should happen in the American Education Society. Oh, wait, I can't, because I ain't got the sheepskins for that, right? I got 2 sheepskins. I got a degree in, I have a bachelor's in political science, and I have a master's in technology management, right? But I don't have education sheepskins, so I can't tell you what should happen. I just gave you my opinion of what he said, all right? But I can't tell you what should happen in the American education system because I don't got the training for that. But you do know what I have the experience, expertise, and frankly a calling to do. I need to make sure that I address this for the children in my Waterdeep campaign, right? How are the gifted children of Waterdeep educated in my Dungeons & Dragons campaign? So let's get into it. All right. So first of all, I watched this video because I want to understand education, right? And I want to understand education because I specifically, as the Dungeon Master, am responsible for the education of every gifted child in Waterdeep, in my world. And so I need to make sure that they are either given the same resources as special needs children as special needs Waterdeep children, or they're not. I have to make that decision within Waterdeep. And I'm going to explain to you how I make that decision, what I do for gifted children, how they're educated in my Waterdeep campaign. And then I'd love to hear how they're educated in your Waterdeep campaign. All right. So let's go forward. All right. So first of all, in Waterdeep, I run a canon resonant campaign, right? And so L'Ariel Silverhand is the open lord of Waterdeep. And of course, there are the mass lords of Waterdeep, right? And because it's a cosmopolitan city, right, there is public education K through 12, right? Now, actually, let's stop there. It's actually not K through 12. It's K through 6, okay? So different than America, it's kindergarten through 6. And they don't use kindergarten through 6. They just go from essentially 5 years old till about, I think 11 or 12, till 11. So public education is supplied in Waterdeep from 5 to 11. Now, there is another difference from America, right? In America, if you're like kids that should be in third grade, and you're like, hey, I'm not sending my kid to public education, I'm going to have them work in my fields that I own in America. They'll be like, no, that's against the law. You can't do that. Every kid has a right to education, and there is a mandate from our nation that everybody's going to be educated. That is not the case. So, like, for instance, in every different section, a lot of the dock workers and the ship captains and people and the sailors who work on ships, a lot of their kids are taken directly out of the public education system in Waterdeep, and they simply work with their parents, right, and help load ships and make sure the rigging's set before the ships go out. And some of them may go to school when they can, and work when they have to, right? And L'Ariel Silverhand makes sure that anybody who says, my kids aren't going to school at all, they're not tracked down and face legal ramifications for that, right? And the public schools are flexible enough to allow the kids to work when they have to, when their parents say they have to, and then go to school and the teachers are flexible enough to not fail them because they missed 2 weeks because there was 6 ships that came in, right? So that's one of the ways that we do it. Now, how do we deal with the gifted kids in Waterdeep? So first of all the high houses, their kids are not going to the public education that's supplied by L'Ariel Silverhand for all the children in Waterdeep, right? They are being private tutored. So they are getting they're getting the best education money can buy, right? And the reality is, it doesn't matter if they're going to be treated like special needs children. Like, if they, whenever they read a B, they read an E. And whenever they read a D, they read a Z. That kids who would fall in that bracket, right, in Waterdeep, they're not, so many of the gifted kids, any of the children from the high houses, whether gifted or not, are going to have the best education regardless, because the coin will buy it for them, right? Now, what about the gifted kids, like a dock worker's child who's a genius, right? So, let's say there's a dock worker's child, and the dock worker's like, you are not going to, load ships like I am. You are going to get out there and you are going to go to public education every day, right? So does that gifted child get special needs, right? So basically, is that parent allowed to go to the, allowed to go to the open lords and the mass lords and say, hey, I want you to give special coin and special attention. Call in the Harpers or call in the Emerald Enclave, and I want my kid to have special tutoring in the public institution because he is bored by the material that's being given to him, right? And rather than me instruct him as a parent to engage, right, and to overcome the obstacles, I want the system to fix this, because although my kid is probably going to end up a super dope wizard because he's a genius, I don't want his path to be a super dope wizard to be hard, right? So are we going to use Dr. K's gifted children deserve special needs resources given to them because their path to the top, basically it's pretty incredible. Dr. K was saying, if you're gifted, you have to build a mansion, not a shack. And it's hard to build a mansion, right? So, am I going to say, hey, this genius stockworker, the open lords and the mass lords should give extra coin, extra time, extra attention, engage factions in order to give special tutoring, so that his path to build a super dope wizard mansion, literally and figuratively, that he doesn't encounter any issues on his road to the top. or he encounters less. No, absolutely not, right? The reality is it's a zero-sum world, man, and the resources that would be given to that child are going to come directly from the resources that would be given to actual special needs. Kids who, it's not that they're bored or that there'll be some abrasion, but have very legitimate obstacles to studying and understanding. And when they bring their faculties to the work, they encounter incredibly difficult obstacles. Not, I'm bored and somebody needs to manage my boredom, right? Like, it's incredible, so in my Waterdeep, no, absolutely not. Gifted children are not given the resources. There's no resources taken from special needs kids, and put it over to make sure that the dock workers kid, who's an absolute genius and is going to sail through, and can get B's and C's without trying, exactly the way Dr. K explained that he did, has a smoother path on his road to the tippity top, exactly like Dr. K sits right now, right? Like, so in Waterdeep, I absolutely do not treat my gifted Waterdeep children as special needs. I don't think that's wise. And so you as a 5th edition dungeon master, you have to determine how education works in your Waterdeep world, in your specific Waterdeep. Are you going to give your Waterdeep gifted children special needs resources? I'd love to hear your answer. My answer is no, absolutely not. All right? But I'd love to hear your answer. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.